Hey everyone, and welcome to Business Boutique. I'm Christy, Wright, and today we are talking about inviting God into your business. I'm so excited about this because this is something I feel really, really passionate about. Now, I want to start by giving you a little bit of history of Business Boutique and some context specifically around the name. Now, about, let's say, 4 to 5 years ago, we had this dream. I had this dream, Dave Ramsey, the leadership board, we had this dream to help women with businesses, but we didn't know anything about this market and we didn't know what to call it or name it or how to brand it. And so we started really exploring what this could be. Well, at the time, there were a few main categories of how people described what we wanted to do. There was the side business title, the small business title. Both are accurate. We wanted to help women with side businesses and small businesses. Some people called it a side gig or a side hustle. Some people called it being a mompreneur. Some people called it a micro business. And there were a lot of different options of how to name this thing. And what we found in our research is that these titles or these labels are not interchangeable. So when we did a survey, actually, we gave them 4 specific titles. We gave them 6, but only 4 actually ranked. Side business, small business, home-based business, and hobby business, okay? So as we looked at the results, micro business and mompreneur didn't even rank. But of the other 4, it was exactly equal. 20% of the women identified with small business, 20% with side business, 20% with home-based business, and 20% with hobby business. And so we're like, how in the world are we going to name this thing? Because all of these women identify with different labels and different definitions of this thing that they're doing, and they don't cross over. So a woman that runs a small business, she's thinking, it's not just a hobby. Like, this is my full-time job. This is my small business. It's legitimate. Like, this is not just a hobby. But women that had a hobby business or home-based business thought, oh, I'm not a real small business. It's just this little Etsy shop. You've heard my rant about saying that. So we started to see, wow, there are different types of businesses represented in this market that we want to help and we believe that we can help. And there's different mindsets and different emotions and associations around all of these words. And so we really struggled. We tested different names. We sent out different surveys. We did social media ads and surveys and that type of thing. And what we found was there was not a specific name that really encompassed all of these women and what we wanted to do to help this market. We kept trying to describe them, who they were, and how we could help them. And Dave Ramsey, in all of these discussions and brainstorming, he just kind of caught on to the name boutique business. He goes, it's like a boutique business. Like it's like a small business, a side business. It's a boutique business. So he started calling it that. And I didn't know how to tell him. I didn't have the heart to tell him that we weren't going to name this boutique business. Because for most people, if you say boutique business, what do you think? You think we help you start boutiques, right? Like clothing and fashion or gift boutiques, not any type of business, which is what we were actually trying to do. But I didn't have a better suggestion and I didn't have a better solution. So I wasn't about to tell Dave Ramsey that we weren't going to name this boutique business because I didn't have a backup plan, right? So we just kept exploring and kept brainstorming, but y'all, we just kept running into this wall. What are we going to call it? What are we going to call this market of women that we want to help, all the way from hobby business to small business and everywhere in between, every type of industry represented? What are we going to call it? And you know what I did? One day, after weeks of this, months of this, of surveys and researching and brainstorming and all of that, one day I decided to pray about it. I know this should have been my first line of defense, but like many of you, sometimes I come to that as a last resort, unfortunately. And so one day I was sitting in my bedroom and sitting in my bed and I just thought, Lord, what are we going to call this? We can't call it boutique business because we're not helping women start boutiques. We're helping them start a lot of things and grow a lot of things. And how do we describe this market when this market describes themselves in so many different ways? And I felt God say to me, flip it. It's not boutique business. It's the business boutique. And you're not describing what all of them do. You're describing who you are. You are the place that all women come to get help with business, any type of business. Y'all, I could feel it in the moment. That was it. I immediately sent a text to my leader and some guys on the creative team saying, guys, I feel like we're supposed to flip it. I think it's supposed to be the business boutique. We're not going to describe them because they're all over the map. We're going to describe ourselves, and we are the place that you come for all things business. And as soon as I texted that and every conversation after that, everyone got it. It was like this light bulb went off. That's it. Well, of course, a light bulb went off because it was God's idea. It wasn't our idea. But what's so amazing is that's one example of the ways that I have invited God into this business and this brand and this dream. And you know what? God has a lot of really good ideas. Another example, I've told many of you this story from back in college where my senior year of college, I had an advertising campaigns class, and I'll make this story short for you guys, but I was in this group and we just struggled. We were the underdogs. We got C's on every project and assignment. And halfway through the semester, we're just really struggling. And we're competing to get this client, a fake client, for the entire semester's project. And so we were just struggling. We couldn't find anyone that liked this smart car 4.2 that we were charged with building a whole campaign around. Our research was terrible because no one liked it. We had nothing to run on. And so again, I came to my last resort, unfortunately, and I prayed about it. I thought, God, will you help us? All of the other groups seem to be doing great. They're getting A's, we're getting C's, we're smart, and we're trying really, really hard, but no one likes this car. How can we build a campaign around a product that no one likes? And y'all, that night I went to the library with my entire group, and we're all just doing research online, and I came across a petition to bring the Smart Car 4.2 to the United States. The Smart Car 4.2 wasn't in the United States at the time. And it was a petition of 500 names of people that love this car so much, they went online and signed a petition to bring it here to the US. This was our target market. It was gold. And you know what? We spent the rest of the semester keeping that a major, huge secret, by the way, from the other groups. But we built a whole campaign around this group of people. We called them, we researched them, we got in their heads, in their hearts, and understood why they loved this car so much. And then we were able to build a campaign that met them where they are. Why did that happen? Because God led me to that petition. Why? Because I prayed about it. And oh, by the way, our group was the group that won the entire campaign for the whole semester. I attribute all of that to that moment where God led me to that solution. So I'm going to tell you guys, I have been asking God for help in my business, in my career, in my work, since as far back as I can remember. Now, admittedly, sometimes I wait pretty late to ask God for help. Sometimes I have to run into 1,000 walls and bang my head against a wall and then finally realize, oh, I don't know. Why don't I pray about this? Why don't I ask God to help me with this thing when He's pretty good at helping with things? And so I don't know what you're dealing with in your business, but I want to spend a few minutes just encouraging you to ask God for help. Ask God for help with that thing. So often we think of our business life and our faith life as separate things, but they're not. They're not separate at all. I've noticed that we are faith-filled in some areas of our lives, but then we get so stinking practical about our business. Like as if God doesn't understand logistics, or God can't do math, or God doesn't understand marketing, or God doesn't have any new or creative ideas. Now, we realize how ridiculous that sounds when I say it out loud, but then we operate as if our business is completely separate from God. As if He doesn't have a part in it, He can't provide for it, He doesn't understand it, and He can't help us with it. By the way, the gifts that you use are the gifts that God gave you. And the way that you're using them are opportunities that God has provided for you, doors that God has opened for you. The business you own is actually God's business, and the impact you're making through your business is, by the way, the impact that God is using you through. Do you hear a pattern here? God, 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 God. God is already in your business because God is in you and you are in your business. So I just want to encourage you to not think about your business as a separate thing, but as this thing that you can invite God into and partner with Him on. A lot of times we think that our business problems are somehow outside the realm of what God cares about or what God can control, and it's not. A lot of times for me, I just have to get plugged in, whether it's to scripture or prayer or community to remind me of this. And so I want to give you guys a free resource. I have a 7-day devotional. It's totally free. It's just an encouragement to you. Because when you get plugged into scripture, when you put your mind in the right area, thinking about God, focusing on God, asking God for help, praying to God, you'd be amazed at what things open up in your business, what challenges disappear, what solutions pop into your mind simply because you asked. Just like I sat down and asked God, how are we going to name this thing? Or I sat down and asked God for help on my advertising campaigns class. God wants to help you. You just have to ask. He has solutions and he has ideas that you can't even dream about. In fact, he loves to come through for you. He loves to come through for you in real life, in church, on Sunday, but also Monday through Saturday and in your business. Even something as practical as your business, he loves to show up. And he loves to show that he is God and you are not, which I don't know about you, but that is a struggle for me. I want to give you an example from John on the miraculous catch of fish, which many of you might be familiar with this story. But this is an example where Jesus appeared to his disciples after his death and resurrection, and he's appearing to his disciples by the Sea of Galilee. Here's what happened. There's a few disciples there, and Simon Peter, Thomas, Nathanael, the sons of Zebedee, and two other disciples were together. Simon Peter said, I'm going out to fish. And they said, we'll go with you. So they went out and they got into the boat, but that night they caught nothing. Have you ever been there? You put some stuff out there and you didn't catch anything. You went fishing in your business and you didn't catch anything. You tried some marketing and you caught nothing. You put a lot of effort and energy into a project and you caught nothing. I've been there. I've felt that. Early in the morning, Jesus stood on the shore, but the disciples did not realize that it was Jesus. He'll show up in your business, but you may not even realize it's him standing there. He called out to them, friends, haven't you caught any fish? No, they answered. He said, throw your net on the right side of the boat and you will find some. When they did, they were unable to haul the net in because of the large number of fish. God provided, not just fish. God provided an answer and a solution to the problem they had. He provided a way when it seemed like there wasn't any way. He provided fish when it seemed like there weren't any fish. He provided an option when it seemed like all they had was an obstacle. He showed up and he provided because that's who he is. So I don't know what you're dealing with in your business. I don't know what roadblocks you're facing. I don't know what frustrations that you're dealing with, but I do want to encourage you to invite God in. Even if you don't pray much, I encourage you to try it. I encourage you just to ask God for help on that thing that you're struggling with, for help on that thing that you're frustrated by. Ask God to show up. Ask God to help you. You know, it'd be easy to think, oh, God doesn't care about the name of this little project we're starting, this new brand in Ramsey Solutions, but he does. And he did. And he showed up. And he named it. The Business Boutique was not my idea. It was not Dave Ramsey's idea. It was God's idea. You know, the fact that we won an advertising campaigns class and we had by far the best research, that was God's idea. That was God's solution. And sometimes I'd be willing to bet that God makes your situations or allows your situations to be difficult in your life or business so that you will trust him with the solution. And then when he shows up and he gives you that solution, he gets the glory. He's the one that made that happen. And I will tell that story of the advertising campaigns class or the way that Business Boutique was named. And I will never think for a second that I deserve credit for that because it was not my idea. It was his idea. So what are you dealing with? What are you struggling with? I want you to pray about it. I want you to ask God for help, and you will be amazed at how he comes through for you. And I'm praying right now, even for you, and I'll be praying for you in the coming weeks, that you pray about something and God shows up in a way that is more than you could ever ask or imagine, that he breaks out of whatever box you have put him in, because we all put him in a box, that he breaks out of that box and he shows up and blows your mind at how much he cares about you and your business and your dream and the things that he is doing through you. I want you to invite God into your business. I want to invite you to partner with him. I guarantee you he's already there because he is in you and you are in your business. It might just be time for you to realize it. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you want to download your free 7-day devotional, you can do that by clicking the link below.